The last recording for our first class is a review of the dividend discount model, also called the Gordon model. As the third slide here shows, the dividend discount model says that the value of a share of stock or an asset depends upon the distribution or dividend that occurs in the subsequent year divided by the investor's cost of equity less the expected growth rate of the cash flows. And this assumes that the cash flows are expected to grow at a constant rate. We can certainly change the assumption. We can, with just a minor amount of manipulation, we could have a company grow its distributions, dividends grow at 10-15% for, let's say, 3 to 5 years, then have the company's dividends grow at a slower rate going forward. I mean, that's done all the time. But for us, for right now, this should be a review that tells us the value today, or the value at a point in time, is distributions in the subsequent year divided by the required rate of return less growth. And there's a spreadsheet that has examples of this. So this slide provides a brief overview of where the logic of the dividend discount model, let me rephrase that, the derivation of the logic of the dividend discount model. We assume that each shareholder, let's say time period 0, is expecting to receive dividends for a certain period of time. This first example, 10 years. And then at the end of the 10th year, sell the stock, P10. And the value of the share of stock for this person is the present value of all these cash flows. But keep in mind, when person 1 sells their stock to person 2 at the end of year 10, those prices have to be the same. And the second person who buys the stock in year 10, they may have a holding period of 30 years, D11 through D40, and they're going to hold on and then sell the stock at the end of year 40, then sell the stock. The point being, as we go up the ladder, whenever someone sells the stock, someone else has to buy the stock. If we put these all together, that is, we take this P10 and substitute in D11 through P40 out here, take out P40 and put in D41 through D60 and P60 out here, so on and so forth. Whoops. What we end up with is the value today is represented by, or is based upon, all the expected future dividends and the ending share price over a long period of time. And the present value of this whole stream of cash flows will be the value today. And when PN moves out in time, let's say year 200 or 300, even when it becomes very large, PN is going to have a present value equal to 0. So all we're going to have is the price of a share of stock today is the present value of all the expected future dividends growing at some constant rate. And if G could be 0, then you would just have D1 over KE. The important point here for the analyst is that while each of these individuals have a specific holding period, 10 years, 30 years, 20 years, their individual holding periods drop out in the determination of the value of the stock. Because whenever someone has to sell, someone else, let me rephrase that, whenever someone sells, someone else is purchasing, so the price drops out. So a holding period, while very important to the individual, has no bearing to the value of a share of stock at a point in time. And we'll be using the dividend discount model when we move to module 3 and look at terminal values and do other types of analysis. So, and the spreadsheet that's posted provides you with some examples, and the homework that's posted that's due next week also has some homework dealing with working with the dividend discount model and changes in expectations. So to summarize our first class, we've talked about goals, and we understand. Hopefully, we can use Excel, some basic time value functions, understand the dividend discount model. Rate of return is a combination of dividends and distributions, the cash flows, and the capital appreciation. And there'll be some homework involving that. And in terms of value creation, our key performance metrics are the return on invested capital and a firm's cost of capital, because the suppliers of capital have a cost of funds, cost of capital, and the firm must generate a return on invested capital that equals or exceeds that to create shareholder value. And to grow value, we need to earn a return in excess of required rates of return, and that can only happen, as we discussed, when there's positive changes in expectations. So that concludes this recording, and the homework due next week is posted, and we'll be going over the homework when we have our first class meeting, which I believe is September 13th.